I asked, what do you guys like to do out of biz? Josh says, this is a great question, by the way. He says, how do you differentiate your agency in a crowded niche? Shaylin says, hi, folks. What do you use for website audits? What is up, everybody? Excited to see you guys again. You guys are the coolest bunch of people on the face of the earth, and we are answering some weekly Q&A. I love the nature of the questions you guys are asking. Like, I think this is just becoming cooler and cooler and better, just based on the quality. I find the quality of your experience in life is proportional to the quality of the questions you ask yourself all day long. And so usually when I see people asking questions in a group, if they're really kind of basic self-serving questions, you don't get nearly as far as if you ask better high-level questions, and you guys are getting there. So quick little announcement before we get rock and rolling. I've been working to upgrade the Wolfpack members area for those of you guys who are interested in taking your agency to the next level, going phoneless and meetingless. I basically found that there's two models that dominate like scaling, blowing up an agency, and the first model is essentially like digital door knocking, just like mass message a bazillion people. Never personally vibed with me, but I know some people who do really well with it. I hate it, so I'm not going to really say much about it. The second one, which I think is a much better model, is using Facebook ads and bringing people to you, and there's some ups and downs to that. Facebook itself is probably the biggest challenge because ads are anything but set and forget, and you got to watch them, you got to monitor them, and you know, it's expensive, and even still, you're probably going to get a lot of cold people. So I want to introduce you guys to a third model that's basically reverse engineered from real life. Like, one of the things that blew up one of our agencies, I've grown 3 for those of you guys who don't know over these 20 years, but one of them that really blew up was our legal agency. What blew me up is really when I got connected with one of the top conference owners, and then they started putting me at events, and I got to speak, and I got to be on podcasts, and all of a sudden I started to know all the top players in the industry, and they also came to know me. And that blew us up. And so I've realized as I've watched a lot of the more successful agencies, like I'm talking the 8-figure and up ones, it's all strategic networking. They identify targets. They figure out how to add value to their audience. Well, I've just basically reverse engineered that process, and I've got it systematized and templated. So I kind of shudder at all the people that are cold messaging 10,000 people and getting rejection and getting on 1 million calls, when we figured out how to identify one key person, send them a templated thing, they share you with their audience. They do all the work, all the distribution, people come to you pre-sold. I think it's a better model. If you guys are interested in that, you can check out beyondagencyprofits.com/wolfpack, or just click the link below Facebook again, beyondagencyprofits.com/wolfpack. Anyways, let's get into the good stuff for those of you guys who are here. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Frankie Finn proudly brings to you our weekly Q&A. Nothing but shenanigans here every week. Love you guys. So this is a carryover from last week that I missed live. Paul asks, hey Frankie, here's a question. What does a typical working day morning look like for you? Do you meditate, grab breakfast with the family, jog, walk the dog, swim, or sleep until the last minute? So I have habits, my dude, but I'm not militant about them. There's a period of life where I did certain habits, like say eating healthy, and then whenever you eat one unhealthy thing, you feel like you're so far off the rails. And so like I'd eat a cookie, and then it's like, well, I might as well eat 42 boxes of cookies because I ate a cookie now and I'm off the diet kind of thing. And so what I found easier for me is I have habits, but I'm not militant about them. So I sometimes miss a day. Just so you guys know, like, I'm real and I'm human. I have tired days. I have kids. And sometimes it's just a scheduling thing. Like on Friday, I was talking with Rebecca Duran. Just timing-wise, it made sense for us to talk 8 o'clock in the morning. We're building a course for those of you guys who are interested in moving your agencies to her kind of model, which is a licensing model, which is way, way easier for keeping clients and managing them. And scales better in many ways because you're just leasing. It's the value is your stuff and your tools, not you as an agency doing all the execution. That's a story for another day. But point being, I couldn't really do all my morning stuff at 8 in the morning, so I don't like, oh my God, my day is lost. So a couple of things that I like to do every day. I don't always bat 1,000 in doing those, but one of those is I like a green juice. I like to start the day healthy. I'm probably like for every 7 days, I'd say 4 or 5 of them I'm hitting a green juice. I'd like to get better at that, but that's one of the things I like to do. I keep a gratitude journal. This just helps me stay connected with what's actually working, what's actually happening in my life. So that's the second thing. I got the old vision board. These are just all my goals visualized. You guys also see that behind me, all the things I'm working at. I like to sometimes as well, like all my harebrained schemes, I write them out. So this is not like I don't journal or anything like that. It's mostly just figuring out like to-do lists. And then what else? I exercise like 20 minutes. I'd say not 100% of days, but and I do about 15-20 minutes. And all in all, probably takes me about 30-40 minutes. Sometimes kids don't allow it. Like there's lots of reasons, but again, I'm not militant about it. And then when I feel like it, I just get my ass to work. But when I don't, I don't. A lot of it, like to be honest, more than ever is I'm not saying this is the answer for everybody, but I do way more shit in flow than I've ever done. So for me, that like when I feel like working, I work. When I don't, I don't. And I just kind of do what I want to do and what I feel like doing from moment to moment. That's my biggest habit for real, is that I just do what I feel like doing from moment to moment as it kind of comes up. So I don't know if that's super helpful to you, to my dude. I'm not saying that's the morning routine for everybody, just sharing like kind of what works for me, and I hope that's helpful to any of you guys who are listening and also want to kind of develop your own morning habits. But mostly I'm just trying to get my mind and body right. Like that's the deeper idea. So I'm not necessarily like trying to check a box with the habit. I just want my mind right, I want my body right, and as long as those two things are in place, like usually everything else flows out of that. And so like all my habits are just kind of based on that. So I hope that's helpful. Also, this next question is actually me, but I asked it to everybody else, and since you guys were a little bit interested in who I am, which is not always the case, I know you guys are building your own stuff, and I'm perfectly happy to help you guys with your stuff. But I asked, what do you guys like to do out of biz? Outside of biz, like what kind of person are you? I'm a really good cook, so I like to cook a lot and make some really just delicious things. I'm a terrible baker, but I'm a phenomenal cook. I also like, if I'm watching stuff, I like old wrestling videos. I like too many cooking shows, and sometimes I watch some poker, play a little bit of poker here and there. I like to play the guitar. I'm really it's been a hobby of mine for like 20 years. Sometimes I play piano. Obviously, we go to the beach a lot. I don't know. I'm really not that exciting of a human being outside of this stuff. I know a lot of you guys think I'm cooler than I am, but I'm just a regular dude, who eats and shits and does all those kind of things. But I wanted to share that with you guys because you guys were so sharing with your stuff. Josh says, this is a great question, by the way. He says, how do you differentiate your agency in a crowded niche? So I want to lay something out for you guys in a timeline so you guys understand just how much fucking different things are. When I started in 2007, there were not enough SEO people. Like, let me say that again, right? Like, businesses thought, where can I find an SEO person? And didn't have an answer to that. And this was before they got, now sometime around like 2008, 2009, those same people started getting 100 messages a day. All these internet marketers were publishing courses, how you could get rich selling SEO to business owners. I was already kind of doing it before those courses came out. But they really 10x the size of the market. And a lot of people don't realize the businesses who've been around for 20 years, they've been getting 100 messages a day or a week sometimes for like 20 years almost. So like a lot of times people don't realize, I sent an outreach message, and like they've been getting those for a long ass time, right? So people underestimate the hurdle of standing out is kind of the point of that. But so how do you differentiate yourself? And I want you guys to give you guys a couple of ways, a couple of tools. Pick the one that's right for you. You only need one way to stand out. So like don't overthink this. But one of the ways in which you can stand out is everybody else is essentially selling like a limited box of things, leads in its various form, SEO, pay-per-click, Facebook ads, websites, funnels, copywriting, email marketing. Like, there's a limited funnel that I see everybody doing, and they're all based on the idea that I'll bring you more leads, I'll bring you more opportunities. Well, I'll tell you, one of the things is not all opportunities are created equal. I call this the $100 bill. But like, for example, if you think about a roofer does not value, like sometimes they drive to people's houses, 30 minutes in traffic, they get there and the person's got a little leak, and it takes 3 seconds to fix the little leak, and they bill the person $50-$100, like, and it barely covers the cost of gas and the insurance and the employee just to get there. that they don't value that the same as a $250,000 commercial roofing job. And so a lot of times we say, I'm going to get you more leads, but those aren't the same thing. I'm going to get you a little leak fix and a $250,000 commercial thing aren't equal. So one of the things you can do to just stand out is help them sell their most expensive thing. And so you just ask them, like, who do you wish you had more of? And they'll tell you who their most expensive thing, who they're easiest to fulfill on it, who always loves their work. And it's different things to different people. Like a commercial roofer may want a $250,000 roofing job. A dentist may want like the veneers. A coach may want to fill their $50,000 a year mastermind. It's a little bit different to everybody, but just ask them, like, what's your most expensive thing? And then help them sell that, and you'll immediately stand out because nobody else is doing that. So that's one way that you can stand out, is help them sell their most expensive thing. Second way, and I wrote a big post about this the other day, for those of you guys who read it, it's called Found Money. And found money is really, really simple. Is money they don't have to do shit for. So I'll give you guys an example of this. I want to say a couple of years ago, Sam Whalen came to me, who's a brilliant, brilliant fucking dude. And Sam came to me and said something along the lines of, hey, do you guys record your mastermind calls? And I said, yes, we do. And he said, like, so you must have a vault of them. I said, 100. And he said something like, do you think there's a course inside of those things? Like, do you think you covered enough topic that, like, you could, cover a course? And I was like, of course, right? Like, there's fucking dozens and dozens of courses in there. And he said, you ever thought about doing it? And I said, of course, but and he said, well, why not? And I said, well, I don't really have the time, right? Like, I just don't have the time to watch all my own stuff and edit it and figure out how it goes together. And he goes, I will do that for you as long as we can sell them and go like 50-50 partners. So essentially, the offer is, for me, I get to use the stuff I already have. There's nothing extra to do, and he's going to create an additional revenue stream using the stuff I already have. So this is an offer that in any business never goes out of style. So if people are putting out content, you can use their content to create things. You can use it to create other content. You can use it to create courses. You can use it to create books, right? So a second way that you can stand out is if you identify a certain niche of people and think about, like, not how can I bring them new stuff? That's what everybody else is saying. But like using the stuff they already have, how could I get something more valuable out of that? And almost always the answer to that is what I call found money. Like money they don't have to do anything for. That's an offer, by the way, that never goes out of style. I'll give you an example of this. Besides the Sam Whalen one. So I'm actually doing another deal right now with another guy named Drew, who's in our mastermind, brilliant dude. And one of the things Drew's helping us do is to take the courses we have and list them on another marketplace, right? So like there's more value to me. I mentioned as well in the post that Harris, one of the ways he's doing that is he takes coaches who have a working Facebook ad funnel and he's like, hey, I'll adopt your working funnel to YouTube ads. And it's almost like a cheat code, right? Because they already have working ads, they have working funnels, they have working sales, they have working offers, they have everything, right? He's just taking their thing and moving it somewhere else and being a new source of found money. So how can you be found money? And almost always to find found money, you got to like look at a business and what they're doing for like 10, 20, 30 minutes and think about how else could this be used in a way where it could generate additional money without them having to do anything. Almost always it's there. It's like sitting right there. So the found money is another one. And then the last thing that I want to, a way you can do that is the goal line running back. And the goal line running back is the simple idea that people think they need help with leads, and almost always their real problem is conversion. Almost like I'd say 99 times out of 100. The only time there's a real exception when they actually just need leads is when a business is just getting started and just getting off the ground and nobody knows who they are. Then they actually need leads. But usually those make for bad clients anyway. So the rest of businesses that have been around 10, 20 years, they always think it's a lead problem, and it's almost always a conversion problem. They don't know how to answer the phone. They don't know how to follow up with people. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to close. They don't have their offers in order. Like those are all conversion issues, and they think the solution is bring me more leads. But many of you guys have found out as you bring them more leads, they just squander them. So one of the things that I've done is just look at what are the leads that are like we're the closest to buying for them. And Mark Diodati did this brilliantly. So in HVAC, one of the things that happen is they'll give physical quotes to somebody, and 7 out of 10 of those people don't buy. So he's created a service where he just follows up with the 7 out of 10 who didn't buy and says, like, sees if they could address the objection, if there's a way they could win their money, and they win back a deal here and win back a deal here, and they don't have to like do all this work generating leads because the real problem is conversion, and they help them find conversion. It's another form of found money, but if you do that, so I say this because when I started in 2007, there was a shortage of SEO people, and especially since March of 2020, when all these people realized, like, I have to work from home and all those things, like, the number of agencies is like 10x what businesses need. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. It means you should be more strategic about standing out. And so I found that those are 3 ways, and you just need one of them that works for you. Like I mentioned, doing these a little bit out of order, but the goal line running back, where you just help them convert shit that's like they almost converted already. The found money, where you like figure out how to take the stuff they got and get them some free money they don't have to do shit for. Or as I mentioned, the whole like help them sell their most expensive thing. Like pick one of those 3 and roll with it. And what you'll find is you'll stand out in a really valuable way. And if you do this right, by the way, everybody thinks, oh, my niche is too crowded. There's a company, like it's got to be like a $500 million company by now, in the legal space, called Alert Communications, and they only do one thing. They have a team of VAs who answer the phone, and they say, hey, and they answer the phone, by the way, at a specific time, because most lawyers answer their phone Monday to Friday 9 to 5, but from 5:01 till the next morning, and on weekends people still call them and they don't have coverage. So they use Alert Communications to take the after hours call. The person just takes down the information, says the lawyer will call you back during business hours, and that's it. That's all they do. And they make a killing, and it's a pretty irresistible offer because it's only like pay per use, so you don't have to pay unless you're actually getting phone calls, kind of thing. But they do an insane amount. Now, everybody would tell you, well, personal injury is too saturated. You could never sell a personal injury, or all kinds of niches. Dentists are too saturated. HVAC's too saturated. But it's only saturated if you're selling the same shit as everybody else in the same way. Then it feels like insanely saturated. If you're Alert Communications, they're in a category of 1. Like, they're literally the only people who do that. Right? They're not even that good at it, but they're the only one who does it. So you want to always like think about like creating an offer that puts you in a category of 1. And like I said, if you're selling the most expensive thing, you're probably going to be the only one helping them get commercial roofs or whatever their most expensive thing is. If you're helping them with found money, you're probably going to be the only one offering them found money. Or if you're helping them with being like a goal line running back, you're probably going to be the only one offering that. And therefore, it makes it easier to get referrals. It makes it easier to send messages. Like everything else is a function of that because you stand out. So I think that's a really great question. It says, oh, okay, now some of the comments are coming in. Am I still live? I'm still live, yeah. There's always a weird delay on the Facebook comment on my side. Like it shows, sometimes it works perfectly, and sometimes it shows me nobody's on, and then I'll see like 20 questions when I come back. So that's why I'm like, I'm not answering your questions. I'm not ignoring you guys, just so you know. Shaylin says, hi folks, what do you use for website audits? So I'll tell you a little bit about how we've had success over the years doing website audits. There's basically primarily 2 kinds of audits, or I should say 2 different kinds of agendas with audits. Thing number 1 is you're trying to show them and demonstrate the holes in their existing website so that you can sell them a solution. Or 2, you're trying to demonstrate the holes in their existing SEO package system setup so that you can show them how to fill that gap. So I'll describe what we've done to sell those kind of 2 packages differently. So thing number 1 is when you're trying to sell a website audit, I found I don't follow a script. I don't follow a template when I've done these over the years. What I mostly do is just show them the holes in their sales argument, right? Like I say, hey, it's a really pretty website or whatever. Like I usually, like before you tear them down, you build them up a little bit. And then you say, hey, I wanted to show you some of the issues. And I always talk about the issues, not as like, what I think people lose deals on this is because they want to use a tech tool and show your load time is too low and things like that. But business owners don't give a fuck about load time and things like that. Just give a fuck about like, is my website converting to people that I want to get into my place? So I keep the conversation centered around that. And so it's like, it's little things, little obvious things. Like, dude, like I got to scroll half an hour to find the fucking phone number, right? Like if I'm on mobile, I just backed out of this thing and I'll call the next person, right? Like people are slow and intolerant. Like you got to end every section with a call to action. Call me, right? Or you got like all these awesome reviews, they're buried way down the page. Like those need to be higher up. That's the most important part of your site right there is when you got the reviews widget. You guys got 156 Google reviews that are 5-star. Like that's what sells people. It needs to be higher on the page, right? So, and almost always it's just really obvious shit. Just really, really obvious shit. Can't find the button. Your form doesn't make sense. Sounds like everybody else. The pictures don't make sense. Don't use these stupid fucking stock photos. Show like real examples of your work. You guys don't have examples of your work. You're missing reviews. The website is just a business card. It's like 3 pages, right? So that's audit number 1, is just show them what you would improve on their website. And actually, this is an important detail, but people are far more likely to buy if they realize they're losing money today than if they can gain money tomorrow. So almost what people do is they sell it as like hey, if you get my new website, like it'll be amazing. You'll get all these conversions, and it'll be SEO friendly. You get more leads and more sales, more customers. But what you need to do is say, like, dude, if I can't find the phone number, I ain't calling you. And so, like, you're losing at least some of the people right now and you got like all these awesome reviews and you're not showing them. Like, you're losing sales by not showing those, right? So you want to make the argument that they're losing money now. It'll motivate people far more likely to buy your website audit. That was the one piece I forgot to mention. Second type, SEO audits. And SEO audits are far, far simpler. It's almost always you run an analysis and you show them where they're at. You run an analysis and you show them where their competitor's at, and you explain what you would do to fill the gap in between so that they could pass them. That's really it. It sounds more complicated, or people like to make it more complicated than that, but it really isn't. It's just show them where they're at mathematically, show them where their competitors are at mathematically. And almost always, by the way, it doesn't sound like crazy salesmanship or copywriting, but almost always local businesses especially, they fucking hate that competitor. They're like, that guy's not even a real fucking lawyer. Or like, he does terrible work, right? Like, they always hate that guy. And so when you show them that guy's ahead of them, they're like, I need to do something to pass that guy. That's where the sale's actually made. And then all you're doing is showing them what you would do to fill that gap. But that's, it doesn't really need to be more complicated than that. SEO audits, here's where you are, here's where your competitor is, here's what I would do to fill that gap. And that's it. It's like it's a 5-minute talking video of those points. And we use a tool. I'm going to have them on in a couple of days, but we use a tool for the SEO audits we've done for our 90-day challenge. We use a tool called LeadSnap. It's a heat map tool. I know there's some other ones as well. I like LeadSnap. It came recommended. It's super cheap, by the way. It's like $20 for 1 billion credits. And you just plug in a keyword, and it'll spit out a heat map, something visually you can show a client, and then you do the same thing for a competitor and show them side by side and say, this is you and this is them. Do you see the difference? Here's why that difference exists. You don't have any fucking reviews. They got way more content. They got a better website than you do, right? You have 1/4 of the links that they do, right? So like these things all need to be fixed. So anyways, that is the process for doing website audits. What I discourage people from doing is using an automated tool, and I'll tell you why. It's not that I don't like the tools. I think they're really cool and super fast, but they focus on all the wrong things. Business owners don't give a fuck about load time. They don't care what their fucking SEO score is optimized out of 100. They don't care about their fucking letter grade. They care about, like, is my website like actually bringing me people? And so if you keep the conversation on that, you'll have the best audits of your life, because you're speaking to that deeper level desire, the thing they really want. And then the audit is really secondary to the fact that you're talking about what they really want. So, hope that's helpful. Good question, by the way. Dan says, hey everyone, I'd appreciate some advice on this matter. I launched a cold email campaign on Monday. I've sent 100 emails, had 20 opens and 0 responses. Is that normal? I know it's a pretty small sample size. Thanks in advance. So yes, my dude, that is normal. Absolutely normal. I think most people underestimate like doing what I call digital door knocking, which is what you're doing, which is, by the way, I get more questions about digital door knocking than anything else, even though I think it's a very outdated strategy. But here's the deal with it, okay? So I mentioned this earlier. In 2009 or so, all these internet marketers started publishing courses how you could get all this money from local businesses, selling them social media services and SEO and Google reviews and fix their website. And all of a sudden, like, all these people kind of jumped on the bandwagon. And what happened is the size of the number of people delivering it 10x. And it went from, like, literally, I watched it in 1 year go from undersaturated, meaning there weren't enough people doing it, to 1 year later, there was too many people. And as a side effect, what started happening is business owners started getting 100 messages a week about that. And now I've got, like, bigger clients who tell me they get 100 messages a day. And this has happened for more than 10 years. So, like, do the math on it. 100 messages a day times 365 days a year. That's 36,000 messages some of these people get per year. And then multiply that for a decade. They've seen almost 400,000 cold pitches in their inbox. Does that mean they're opposed to cold pitches? No. But I say this because I think most people underestimate the task. And so I'm a big believer in a couple of things. One is that before you focus on sending 100 messages, focus on sending one really good one. Okay, and we have a course that goes over this on the website called Open with Anyone, Anytime. Like, a big secret of mine is, a mentor of mine said this to me years ago, and it stood true as the test of time, is great closers. Everybody thinks they want a great closer. Great closers work for great openers, because if you open, you can create opportunities and you can bring in closers to close for them. I know lots of closers, because they don't know how to open, are actually just sitting there waiting for somebody to bring them a deal, because they don't know how to create their own opportunities. And often they go through periods, even though they know how to close $1 million deals, where they're broke and they're struggling and they don't know how to get shit on the table. And so opening is a lost art. Now, secondly, I think most people underestimate, I sent one message, that should be enough, and they don't understand how to be pleasantly persistent. I kind of compare this idea to, like, if you really believe in your shit, and I believe in our shit when I do this, but like back in the day, for those of you guys who are like younger in our market, they used to have a thing called Publishers Clearinghouse. And what they would do is they'd get these big oversized checks, and they would do a draw, and somebody, like a lottery, would win, $5 or $10 million or something like that. And they had this very well-known celebrity at the time, Ed McMahon, who used to run a show called Star Search. And he would go to people's houses with balloons and a giant check and knock on the door, and they would film the thing and be like, "Congratulations, you just won $5 million fucking dollars," right? And like, "Here's your big check." And people, "Yeah, I won millions," right? And that was a whole thing. And what happened is, I imagine what would happen if Ed McMahon knocked on the door and the person didn't answer, and they were home, right? They were in the living room. Somebody's outside, they're probably just selling some shit. Like, let's ignore them. Well, if you got a fucking $5-10 million check, you're not gonna like take no for an answer. You're gonna be like, bang, bang, bang. No, like, really, answer the fucking door. I got a big ass check for you here. And so I compare the modern day, the place we're at with cold outreach, like that, where it often takes 3, 4, 5 follow-ups, especially if you're going after busy, successful people. In fact, sometimes, like, so some of you guys don't know this, but we've had Jay Abraham on the show a couple of times. Jay Abraham's a legend. Like, he's Tony Robbins' mentor. He is Damon John from Shark Tank's mentor. Like, a lot of people are after Jay. So it took me more than 1 year of follow-up to get Jay to come on and do this, just so you guys know. Right? So imagine I had sent one message and gave up. So I think most people underestimate how much repetition it takes, especially, again, if you're going after busy, successful people. If you're messaging your neighbor, might not be so hard to get them cold. If you're messaging, the more it's like Tony Robbins, like, it's probably going to take work and a big check to get through. So I say that because I don't think people understand the hurdle. So I see this all the time. People say, "Oh, I sent 100 messages and I'm not a millionaire." So fucking what? Like, usually the messages you sent, A, weren't that good, B, half of them never even got fucking seen, and C, you haven't even crossed the threshold of what it takes to break through. Which is why, by the way, I'm not such a big fan of digital door knocking. The longer we do this, what we like to do personally in my world is, and the people who kind of follow me, is we identify the movers and shakers in the industry that already have big audiences, and we co-create valuable content with them, and they send it out to their audience for us, right? So we only really have to knock on one door at a time and say, like, "Hey, you got a podcast that has 1 million, or you got a magazine, or you got a conference I would love to be part of," right? So what we find is, you send less overall messages. Like, I only send like 1 to 5 messages a week, just so you guys know, creating opportunities. And that's it. That's all I got time for with 3 kids. It takes me less than 5 minutes to do it. And I wouldn't say I bat 1,000, but our batting average is probably like 80%. Right? Like, so like if I send 5 messages, 4 of them are going to turn into opportunities. So I'm not saying it works for everyone, every time, every place, but I say that to you guys because I think too many people think about this as a mass market thing and not enough as a rifle. How can I be more strategic? They think about it as a shotgun. How can I blast everybody in my market? But if you aim for the rifle, if you aim at the door that already opens 10,000 doors, what happens is you get in front of 10,000 people and you only got to send one message, right? Like for me, like I think about the ultimate example of leverage, in the 90-day challenge, I found an industry magazine. I wrote them a really cool article. It took me about 15 minutes. The message took me 30 seconds to write. They published it on the front cover. I had tons and tons of inquiries from people who read our magazine front cover article, wanted to work with us. We probably made like 15, 20 grand just from that one article per month. And then also, then we got invited to speak, and we're still dealing with deals and clients and stuff and inquiries in the system just from all of that came through from the speaking opportunity. And so I say that because like that was just one door. It took one message. It took 30 seconds. I believe that's a smarter way, identifying the people who already have big buying audiences and have credibility with your audience, and then co-creating with them. So if that's your style, you may want to check out the Wolfpack, because I'm a big believer in that personally, because I think it's just smarter. And also, you're doing it in a way where it adds value. Instead of messaging people and saying, buy my shit, you're saying, hey, I think this would be really fucking cool for your audience. Is it cool if we share this cool thing, right? It makes the outreach so much easier, because everybody else is just cold messaging 10,000 people saying buy my shit. The ironic thing is, if you add value to that person's audience, people will come to you and say, can I buy your shit? Which is all you're really after in the end anyway, right? Like most of us anyway. Firas says, who has experience in getting clients using Loom Outreach? So just so you guys know, I'm not saying I invented the Loom Outreach strategy, but I did it before anybody else I ever knew. That is not to say, like, again, that nobody else got the idea at the same time. But in my world, I invented that shit. Like, no, there was nobody else who showed me how to do that. And it started with, by the way, the idea did not come to me in some, like, stroke of genius or whatever. It actually came to me because I was in a period where clients kept asking me about SEO reports. And I tried all these tools and all these softwares, things just so like they would stop asking me questions, like automated reporting. And the more I used it, the more questions they had. And so one time I made a video for a client, because we weren't, up until that point I would get on a call with them, but for whatever reason we weren't able to sync up. So I just made a little video recording here's what the SEO report means, here's how we're doing, here's what I'm working at, here's what you can kind of expect next, here's how all of that's going, kind of thing. It's like 2 minutes long, and he loved it. Said, can you do that for me every month from now on? And I said, sure, no problem. And it became a thing. We started doing it for clients. And something clicked for me. I don't know if you guys have seen the Jordan Belfort, sell me this pen. Sell me this pen. And I think in some ways, in our world, this analogy doesn't really hold up. And I'll tell you why. Because I think in some ways, people who have a pen have it, or like physical things have it easy, because it's easier for people to conceptualize. They can touch it, they can feel it, they can hold it in their hand. Most of our stuff is intangible. We're selling expertise. We're not selling this is a pen. We're selling I know how to use the pen to create a result in your life, right? And that's so much more intangible. And what I realized in this process is the more you can show people the intangible visually, the easier your life is, because they will get you faster and easier. So the whole point of why I started switching to videos is because you can take long conversations that take forever to get somebody up to speed and just show them visually, and they get it in seconds. Like I found on a sales call, to get to the point where I could show somebody, hey, we can solve your problem, and this is the outcome we could potentially create for you, sometimes took 45 minutes. But when I showed them in a picture, they got it in 3 seconds. And so the whole point of using videos is to show people your expertise visually in a way where they get it. That's the big underlying thing that I think everybody misses. It's not about some like really scripted presentation. It's like literally just being able to, like I said, we're not selling touch it, taste it, feel it pens. We're selling I know how to use this pen to get you a result. And so it's intangible, and it's hard for people to follow. So the more you can show people stuff visually. So a lot of you guys have this already. You get form fills on a website. Just show people what a typical form fill looks like. You guys get leads in your system. Show them the leads in the system. You guys do some nurture. You do some go high level missed call text back. Show them the fucking missed call text back, right? For real. Just show them a screenshot. Like, hey, every now and then somebody tries calling you and you can't answer the phone, or you're driving through a tunnel or whatever. You're on a job. We text them this, so that you don't miss those calls, right? So this is the magic of it, is like when you do this through video. So a lot of times people miss that important detail. They're looking for like, what is the perfect script and what do I say? And they stress about all the wrong details. The point is just to demonstrate your expertise visually. And we found that there's a format that works really, really well. I've done the Loom training on our website. You guys can check it out whenever you want. But show them either a problem you can solve or a result they want, or both together, like a before and after, visually, and then tell them who this result like typically works for, or who you can solve this problem for as a slam dunk, and ideally in a binary way, like where a yes or no. Do you got 1,000 customers in your database? Yes or no. Then show them how it works. Lay out the basic strategy. Tell them how much it costs, the part everybody hides behind, and then tell them how to get it. And that's really it. Like that's the 5-minute video. But this came out of after doing probably close to like 2,000 sales calls in my life, and having hired salespeople and listened to bazillions of sales calls. What I realized is most people just want to know basic shit. What is this thing about? Okay, well, can you do that for me? Okay, how does it work? How much is it? How do I get it? Right? That's it. That's all they really want to know. And so we're just preemptively answering all the things they would ask and doing it in a powerful visual way. You do that, what you find is you'll sell a lot of shit. So coming back to your original question, who here has experience in getting clients with Loom videos? This is the most powerful thing. It's not a script. It's not anything. It's just to show people visually, I can help you. So I'm back to like doing an SEO report. Like I run an analysis. Here's where you are. Run an analysis. Here's where your competitor is. This is how I would fill that gap. And these are all the reasons why you're lacking, why you're below them. They got 270 reviews. You got 114. You got 150 less reviews. Why would you think you're going to be higher than them? You need to close that gap. You need to get at least 150 plus 100 to pass them, which means you need at least 250 reviews in the next 6 months. What is your plan to get 2 a day, right? So that's part of it. But if you do that, what'll happen is, and then the other thing is, I've learned it's not a good idea to make videos for people if they're not willing to watch it. So I've learned to test the process by basically saying, I got idea A, B, and C for you. Can I send you a video about it? And if they're not interested in seeing a video, don't make the video. And then what'll happen, it'll cut down on the overall numbers of videos you make. But that's how we did it for years. And I just got the idea, like, just so you guys know, like I just wanted more clients. I was in a like financial pinch back in the day. I don't know, I want to say like 12 years ago, whenever it was or whatever. And I was like, I need some clients like yesterday. And so I just started making videos for people, telling them how I would help them. That was it. That was the whole strategy. And I just sent a bunch of them until people started replying. So hope that's helpful, my man. Haley says, this is the last question we got on the day, unless you guys got any you want to type in the comments. Haley says, we just signed our first referral. How do you handle referral rewards? We offer a $200 cash reward. I couldn't find any advice on what works best for cash rewards. Any insights on what payment system is most suitable? Haley, this is a loaded question. Getting referrals for people. Now, I'll tell you, a lot of times people think that the way to get like maximum referrals is to offer maximum cash. I mean, it makes sense, right? In kind of thinking that if you give people a bunch of money, they're going to want to send you a bunch of people, more so than people who aren't paying. But there is a big but, and there is a big risk in recommending anyone, okay? And for any influencer, I'm a little micro influencer. I got a following on the internet, but there's plenty of people who have 7 zeros on the number of following. So anyway, I'll tell you, I recommend stuff all the time, and I have people pitch me and say, like, can I give you money to promote my shit? And almost always, before I say yes to that, I have to do my due diligence and make sure, like, is this actually good? Do you guys like this? Would you recommend it? If I wasn't being paid, would you still tell people to buy? And where those things are, like, they add up. And I'll tell you why, because if I recommend something that's shit, or any influencer recommends something that's shit, they're going to damage their reputation in the process, right? So, and what happens is then they would lose their source of money. I saw this actually on a YouTube video last night. I was checking out something for another project we're working on, and the guy in the video, he had a sponsorship where he recommended some like get help hotline, and people in the video were like, hey, I've used that service, it's really fucking scammy, I can't believe you took their money, I'm unsubscribing, fuck this channel, never be back. And there were like a lot of people that shared that sentiment, right? So that's what happens when it goes wrong, when an influencer takes money and recommends something that ultimately harms their reputation, is they lose credibility with their following. Their following some of those people will never see that person the same way again. They'll never buy from them, they'll never shop from them, they'll stop consuming their shit. Now, admittedly, that was not the reaction of everybody, but a lot of people felt like that. So I say that to you because cash rewards are not as appealing as most people think they are. So What I usually focus on when leading with an influencer is on a problem you are going to solve for their audience and a value you're going to create that is going to make them look good. That is the first and most important thing. And then as a small little afterthought, I throw in the whole, well, we would pay a marketing fee anyway through Facebook ads or whatever, through a commission to a salesperson to go get people. I'd rather just give that to you. What I would pay Facebook, I'd rather give to you. I know you're not doing this for the money. Again, it's a small little afterthought. Now, here's the key with this. It actually works even better if you don't give them money, but you give them things that have real-world monetary equivalent. So I've seen this go as high as a Tesla. Friend and mentor of mine, Michael Mogul, like they actually give away Teslas. If you recommend enough people, they will send you a damn electric car. An Elon vehicle, hopefully not that truck because it's kind of looks like it was made in Minecraft. That's a story for another day. And on the flip side of that, I've seen cool gifts like Starbucks gift cards and maybe a little bigger than that, like iPads. And you do this as a thank you, and I'll tell you why. People love getting cool shit for things they would recommend anyway. I'm starting to get into space, by the way, as an influencer, where people just send me cool shit. Like, that's fucking amazing. Like, I've gotten, T-shirts and mugs, and like our man, Steve Harsan got me this, like, cool picture right here, a cartoon photo of my family. That's just fucking awesome, right? And so that is, like, to me, cooler than actual cash. And especially if an influencer has been successful and has money, like, more money doesn't change their life, but cool stuff presents they can give away, things they would never buy for themselves, often have a bigger impact. So I'll tell you, instead of giving them $200, if you find an equivalent $200 reward, especially just like click on their Facebook profile or their social, their Instagram or whatever, and see what they're into, like a $200 football jersey of their favorite player, will fucking smash it harder than $200 cash ever would. Especially because they probably wouldn't buy themselves a $200 jersey, but they would fucking love to just get one, right? So that is my kind of philosophy on referrals, is make it about, I'm going to really help your audience and make you look good. And as an afterthought, and I'll give you a little kickback as part of that, and ideally if the kickback is not cash, but cash equivalent, you'll actually get even better results. So I hope that's helpful to those of you guys who are generating referrals. For those of you guys who missed the intro and are just hanging with me here live, I want to give a shout out to my wolf pack, just mentioning that we've been working on making it better. From what I can tell, there have been mostly two models for scaling agencies that I see taught. Model number one is what I call the digital door knocking, which is people basically do cold outreach and message a bazillion people, and if you do that enough times for long enough, you'll start to get some deals. That's what most people do. The cold outreach, digital door knocking, what I call the digital bukkake, just smash our market, smash everyone. And I think it's the least efficient business model ever invented, because it's like door-to-door sales just done digitally. Like, you smash on a million doors, you face massive amounts of rejection, you got to do a lot of calls and a lot of chasing, a lot of people who don't know who you are. Don't recommend it. Second model, which I think is a better model, is the Facebook ads. Run the Facebook ad machine, bring people to you. I like it. I've used it. I'll tell you some of the downsides with it though. One, Facebook ads, they're anything but set and forget. You got to constantly monitor them. So that's the first thing. Second thing is that Facebook ads can just shut you down at any time. That's the reason, by the way, we don't scale with Facebook ads or any really ad platform, why we do a lot of sneaky, super powerful organic stuff, because I've realized overnight the ad platforms can shut you down, but they can't take away your real world relationships that you've built, and that's why we focus on doing that strategically. So there is a third model past both of those things that I think is a better model, and it is what I call the shoe store methodology. And it's really just focusing on the people who, if you sell shoes, already sell mountains of shoes to your audience, and you figure out just how to get into their shoe store and add value to their people, and in doing so you sell a lot of shoes, right? Very, very simple kind of methodology in terms of practice. And we've got this all now templated it out, scripts, copy and paste, just do what we say. And I'll tell you, the real magic of it is people undervalue their time and energy. Like, to me, spending thousands of fucking hours knocking on doors and doing hundreds and hundreds of sales calls with people who aren't even that fucking interested, and only getting a couple of clients. That's so much wasted time and energy you'll never get back. And most of those clients, they don't stay very long because they didn't see you as an expert to begin with. You're just somebody who like pitched them in their inbox. The Facebook ad is a little bit better system, but it's expensive. You still got to stay on top of it. They can shut you down anytime. And the way most people are doing it, you're still getting cold people who aren't that fucking warm on the idea of working with you. And so like you still got to sell them, and they still like you still have the same challenges if they don't know you. As where the shoe store methodology, you're actually taking people who have built trust in audiences and co-creating with them in a way where it only takes a little bit of time, but you're adding massive value to your space. And so it brings people to you who are pre-sold, who we then close through video. And so it saves you a massive amounts of time and energy. Like I say, 1 to 5 messages a week, you record 3 to 5 pieces of content, and people come to you, and like you don't even have to close them. They watch your videos and they say, I'm in, want to work with you, right? So if that's more your style, you may want to check out the Wolfpack. Like I said, we've got that all templated scripts, step by step, like how to find the people to pitch. This is how you pitch them. This is the kind of content you want to put out if you want to sell your stuff, and then how to close them through video and all of that process. And we also have like a ton of other resources and stuff to help you with the onboarding, with the teams and fulfillment and our exact hiring ads and things like that we've used, as well as like anybody. We have a whole list of recommended providers and software and things like that. So if that's your cup of tea, check that baby out. Put the link for you guys below, beyondagencyprofits.com/Wolfpack. That's it for me on this fancy Monday. Much love. Appreciate you guys. May the force be with you. Have a happy Monday. Hey guys, if you like this video, you'll also like my book on Amazon called Beyond the Agency Box, which you can also find by my name, Frankie Finn, and it's got a lot of awesome reviews, and it really just goes deeper on a lot of the things we're talking about, everything you need to grow and start a lifestyle agency, from the stages you'll go through to getting clients, to how to create winning offers, to high-value deliverables, to wowing clients, to building teams, to building systems, and building a boring factory that's like a 7-figure money machine for you. So if you're interested, I put links for you in the video description, as well as it'll be in the pinned top comment below, and make sure to check those out.